Welcome to Drag Race TV LA and our recap of the first 3 episodes of Drag Race España Season 1. España has definitely leaving its own mark on the franchise, and we can't wait to talk about it. If you like to talk Drag Race, you've come to the right place. Hola, hola, hola! It's your host, Mark J Freeman and Ollie Drennan.
Hola, buenos dias.
I took 5 years of French, so until Drag Race Paris starts, I'm pretty screwed.
It's okay. I don't speak Spanish and I am Mexican, so...
Okay, now I don't feel as bad. All right, you guys, be sure to follow us on the social medias, DRTVLA, and also on Twitch. We go live on Twitch now, along with YouTube, so you can watch us on either. Ollie, 3 episodes into Drag Race España. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts overall so far?
I am absolutely in love with it. I mean, it's clearly just miles. It's one of the best Drag Race. I'm just going to say Drag Race seasons in general. I know it's a spinoff, but one of the best seasons that I've seen in a long time. I don't know about you, but it really just feels fresh. It doesn't see they got their budget together. These girls are getting a prize. The judges are great. We'll talk more about them. The cast is great. It's just phenomenal, and I'm really enjoying it, especially after having to go through Down Under, which, if you're no stranger to our Down Under reviews, things took a turn for the worse, for sure. They've gone down under for sure. But I'm clearly enjoying this initial season of España.
I could not agree more. We said before we started this, before we went live, how we're excited to finally say nice things. I feel like people think we come on here to complain, but we really, again, we say this all the time. We want it to be good. Mm-hmm. We want to watch a great Drag Race season. That's all we all want, We want it to be fair. We want it to be, just, you know what I mean? We don't want it to see that production, all that stuff. And this is just, one of the things I think I like the most about it is it has its own energy. It's like they seem so happy to be doing this show. Every single one of them. When they were walking in the workroom, when Supreme Deluxe, who is the host of the show, she's the RuPaul of España, even just the way she presents herself, the judges seem so happy to be there. They seem to be even when they give bad and sometimes misleading critiques, in my opinion, because there are still a few things in there that are, questionable, but they just seem so happy to be there and so happy to do it. So it's rubbing off on me. I'm loving it. I'm loving all the queens, even the queens that have gone. There's one queen, we'll get into it, who I'm not a fan of, but and yes, she's still on. But yeah, so I'm excited to do this. I'm really excited to do this. And then you guys too, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. I think it's in that corner. Our logo down in the bottom there. Subscribe to the channel. Please like and share. It really, truly does help if you tweet this out or share it on your Facebook pages. It really, really, truly does help us. Don't give Chucky Chuck says, don't give them any ideas, Mark, about a Paris.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh, I think it's just a matter of time for Paris or France. I guess it's going to be France, I would guess. Maybe it's a great season so far because there's no Rue or Michelle. That is debatable. I guess we can debate that. I do think it says something. Maybe they can learn this from Down Under because, like you were saying, our Down Under recaps have just been like, I'm like, I don't even want to put on my mug to do it anymore. I think it says something that the people from the country are judging those queens. It's so different for me to come in. And even this, I think as we're doing this, because we don't have our Magenta Fox, of España, somebody that can kind of explain stuff to us, we'll probably be judging things, that we just don't really know. We don't understand the culture. We don't understand the things that they do and say and their drag. So, and I'm sure we'll make some mistakes, but I do think that is something to be said that they have their own thing. So we're going to go episode by episode. Last time we did, when we did UK season 2, I did them like I kind of jumbled everything together. I'm going to do episode by episode because I think each one kind of spoke for itself, and I think each one deserved its own attention. So Ollie's episode 1, the premiere, overall thoughts. How would you rate this? I mean, you kind of said this already. How would you rate it as premieres go?
Instantly hooked for sure. It's almost like, I'm like, damn, now that 13, Drag Race doesn't really, the normal seasons aren't eliminated on the first episode. So I'm like, I don't want anyone to go home in this first episode. And it's been, I don't know, it's a good feeling to finally feel that when like you have this cast of queens who you just all have like you just love and you don't want to see any of them go home. I know you probably want one of them to go home, but for sure.
I do.
But yeah, it's like, God damn it. And we have our favorites. So I just thought it was a really great premiere and I didn't want it to end. Like, no, don't go home yet. It's also a design challenge too. So it's like, why can't you do that episode 2? Because they don't get to show what they've either made themselves or bought, so, but regardless, enjoyed it.
Well, I think for the premiere, I guess this is because it seems to be the case for the premiere, it's going to be some sort of make something out of nothing kind of thing. So I do feel like your opportunity is the entrance to do something when you walk into the workroom. So I'm setting myself up for my my next part is Ollie, of the people coming into the workroom. We're not going to go through everybody's looks, but who stood out to you? Whose look did you like? And whose look were you like, no? And hello, Rex Trek is joining us. Hello, Rex Trek. Thank you for joining us live. Go ahead. Who are your likes and dislikes on the entrance looks?
First, I just want to say they all brought it. Well, okay, some of them didn't, but like for the most part, I really liked a lot of their entrance looks. Like Arancha's, real quick, not my favorite, but you already got who she was, her brand, her Hannah Montana. Like, yes, got it. I loved Hugo Seo's, beautiful, gorgeous, literally walking art.
Yep.
Inti's, fashion queen.
Yeah.
Love that. It was honorable mention to Macarena. I love that campy. She looked like she just came from a quinceañera. Like with the pork rinds. So those were some of my standouts. And who I didn't like, I'm pretty sure we have the same person who entrance look wasn't on par with the rest of the. It was costume, and if you want to take it away, I think
Poopy, which is appropriate name for her, Poopy.
Sorry, Poopy.
I can't with Poopy, and this is gonna be from my end. It's gonna be Poopy bashing, Carmen praising. That's all you're gonna get from me. I'm just warning you now. It's gonna be an hour of me complaining about Poopy and talking about how I can't wait for Carmen to move to Los Angeles and be my lover.
Manifest it.
And you have. We'll talk about yours later. Ali has a new love from España as well, so we'll get into that one in a little bit. No. So yeah, Poopies was no. Of the end, like if I'm judging it like on fashion, on who walked in, I agree with you with Arancha. You got immediately who she was. I would say Killer Queen, I actually really liked too, because she kind of tied in her drag with her real profession. She's a doctor in real life, in non-drag, in her non-drag world. And I mean, you have to give props to Drag Volcano. I'm sorry. Like, even if you don't want to see that every episode, I mean, just to walk in, look like on those platform shoes, like, kudos, girl. Kudos to you for that, you know? Yeah, those were kind of my standouts.
It's hard. Majority of them brought it, you know? I'm like, good God. If this is like the first entrance, like I'm ready for the rest of the season and what they're going to bring, you know?
Yeah. I would say you guys, if you're in, let's say we see what these guys in the chat are saying. Rex Trek loves Hugo. He remembers Carmen. I do not like her attitude. Poopy, yeah. Oh, Chucky Chuck likes Poopy. Good, Chucky Chuck. You can have her. You can go to her shows. Her makeup is harsh. I know, the heels. I'm assuming you're talking about Drag Volcano's heels. Are pretty, they're crazy. So out of drag, Ali, who do you think had the biggest out of drag transformation? Because everybody loves seeing everybody as a boy finally. Who was for you like, oh wow, not what I was expecting?
Honestly, I would say Dovima. Probably for me looks so different. She goes from the boy in a Hot Topic to like, what's her name? Oh my God, Burlesque Girl. Oh my God, I love her. Not her, Betty Davis. Who am I thinking of? She dated Marilyn Manson. Oh my God, anyways.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, is that the same person? But yeah, she's definitely I think she's really cute too. As a boy. I'm just like, you're very cute.
Yeah. I think Dovima, I would agree, Dovima. I actually, Drag Volcano surprised me out of drag. I kind of was like, oh, they all seem to be surprised by Arancha out of drag.
Like, she kind of looks like the same though.
Yeah,
and I love her.
I agree.
And I love her so much.
I agree.
You
know, and I think did I write it down on here? Yes, I did write it down. When she comes in, she says, "You'll live much longer if you keep smiling." She just has such a great that's drag to me. Like I go to the show because I know she's going to make me smile. She's going to forget my day. She's not worrying about doing death drops and wearing the best fashion. It's just about having fun, playing this character. Like Dita Von Teese, is that who you're talking about?
Yes, thank you, the Canuck.
The Canuck.
Thank you. I love her, and I can't believe I forgot her name. Anyways,
yeah. So yeah, I those were my
and that's why I think she's just a queen that you want to automatically root for. Like you get her. I want to see an Arancha show so bad one day.
Oh, totally, me too. I would be first in line for that. So. Rex Trek says Arancha reminds him of Carol Channing. Carol Wayne. I don't know who Carol Wayne is.
That's what Hannah Montana becomes later on in life. Carol Channing, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know who Carol Wayne is, Rex Trek. So, all right. So some odds and ends about the episode is Dovima and Sagittarius, we find out, were roommates. They had a falling out over a guy, supposedly. I also liked that they were like, well, we'll tell you what happened at the finale.
I know. They're like, we got to both stay in this competition. Yeah. They're not dumb. I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, damn, I want to know that story too as a viewer. So it was smart.
I have a feeling we'll get a little bit more. I have a feeling. We'll see. You know, there was a moment too in episode 1, and I don't know if you caught this, Ollie, because it happened really kind of quick in her confessional. Dovima says in episode 1 that she doesn't feel like she belongs there.
Yeah.
And that and then she also later says that she's not portraying the image that she had planned on portraying. So again, we've talked about this before. I think a lot of them go in expecting like, I'm going to be the villain. I'm going to be the this. I'm going to be the that. I think what I was saying earlier, I think this camaraderie and energy of the show that they are clearly that's happening on the set has even changed Dovima to not being this tough, bad girl. She has said some of the nicest and kindest things over the first 3 episodes. Like just shocking me. Like just like, wow, like I wasn't expecting you to be the one to be that person that steps up and says that. So interesting. I wonder how do you remember her saying that about
I do.
not belonging?
I do. And then I remember they had an Untucked. I forget the episode. They had an Untucked moment where you said exactly what you just said. They were like, or she said it herself. Like, I was supposed to be the bitch, but you're all making me love you. Like,
yep.
So
I think then she was talking to Inti.
Yeah. So it just goes to show just to be yourself. You don't have to portray that image that people think that you're supposed to be just because you are this like Dita Von Teese, like super sexy, like villainous, burlesque person. That maybe that's what she was trying to go for, this archetype. When it's just like, girl, no,
you.
Exactly.
Because now I like her and I appreciate her drag more because I know her. There's always, when you have that connection to people and it's more than just a look or a song that they do. That's where the connections lie. And I'm so glad Dovima is allowing herself to open up and not try to keep playing that role. Because we've seen other queens on other seasons who just stick to that role and they are just like, and then maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should go back and retract and blah, 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 whatever. Just a couple little fun fact things that I Googled about the things that were something that was mentioned is Maria Isabel. They all kind of talked about this Maria Isabel because they said they had Maria Isabel shoes. They used to watch Maria Isabel on TV. So it turns out that she's a Spanish singer, songwriter, and actress, best known for winning the Junior Eurovision Song Contest in 2004. So that's who Maria Isabel is. I'm assuming that's who they're referring to in the in those conversations. It seemed to make sense to me. Also, another fun fact that I not that I'm stalking Carmen by any means.
No, never.
But according to fandom, she has never seen any season of RuPaul's Drag Race.
That's wild.
Right?
That's so wild.
I thought that's why I put it in there, because I was like, wow, that's actually really interesting that she's obviously have heard of it. I wonder how long she's been doing drag. I didn't look on there to see how long she's been doing drag, because if she hasn't been doing it that long, though, if you get really caught up in it, you may not have time to sit down and watch all the incarnations.
I think I respect her more for that, because then that automatically is like, oh, so you're not just doing drag because it's popular. You're doing drag because you love it. But also, like, I'm like, girl, you should probably just like watch a couple episodes so you know what you're in for at the same time,
But that being said, she's killing it.
Right.
And she's so not, when we did the first looks video, so we were basing all this off of a look. I actually said I thought she might be trans because the way her shirt was cut, it looked like she had actual breasts. Clearly she's not. I don't know if that was a breastplate that she's wearing or something to make it look that way, or maybe they photoshopped it. I don't know. Because I did go back and look and I was like, well, what was I seeing then in this picture? But I really truly had this impression that she was just going to be this, I'm going to be this fishy queen, like no personality and just like a pretty face, and which we've seen 1,000 times. And she's one that is just like such a standout to me. Like blowing my mind with like, I mean, the fact that she's so emotional and that she, you know, she just seems, you can tell that she's listening to people in the workroom. There's something, we'll get into some of the stuff that she said, but I just thought I'd mention that because I thought it was an interesting fact. All right, so get into the mini challenge of episode 1 is the riding the mechanical bull photo shoot. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised they haven't done it on regular Drag Race.
I know, right? But it worked out. I was a little scared though, to be honest. I'm like, oh god, like drag Volcano with the big platform shoes. I'm like, how are they gonna do that? Killer Queen. Yeah. Like, I don't want their drag to get screwed up. Yeah, I was nervous.
Was there anyone?
It was good
that
though.
Stood out to you from that?
I really thought Carmen did a great job. Not only did she do a great job, she was like falling, but like her balls were coming out, her huevos, you know, like it was really fun. And she got the photo. She got the photo as long as you got the shot. But it was so good. It was such a good little mini challenge.
I love one that popped into my head when I was writing it was Inti, when she just like literally just like boop, jumped right on it, like didn't hesitate, it was like she's been doing this her whole life, and I was just like, you go, girl.
You know, some of us have rode a few bulls in our day, so good for her. Pro, take it like a champ.
Take it like a champ. The spinning disc where they shot paint. Yes, Drag Race USA did the spinning disc where they shot paint at them, which is actually from that's actually from a runway. I found this out when I was watching a documentary. That's actually, somebody did that in a fashion show. I don't know if it was Alexander McQueen. They had these robots that came up and they had the finale girl come out in a white dress and they sprayed the dress, and that was the finale of the runway, which I never knew.
Was it turning though?
I think the robots were turning, and then she was standing. So I think she was able to move and like kind of move in them. Like she wasn't on a turntable, but I think that Drag Race did it just for the fun. Which I thought was an interesting, because I had no idea that was a thing. Anyways, back to España. So you had mentioned Carmen. Yes, Carmen won the challenge for the mini challenge for the riding the bull. And I think we both agree. I think she deserved to win. I thought Sagittaria took a good picture too. When they showed Sagittaria's picture, I thought, oh, that might be the winner. They may be who got it, but then Carmen ended up getting it. The maxi challenge for episode 1, we mentioned this earlier, is the design challenge to make a runway look out of rummage sale items. Carmen got to choose first because she won the mini challenge, so she got to just walk up and look at the items and pick what she wanted, and then the rest of them had to like charge the rummage sale and steal the box that they wanted. All right, so we're getting ready because now we're just talking about the runways. We're only going to talk about the tops and bottoms for each runway, just so you guys know. We're not going to pull up everybody, but I do have photos for all of these. But first, Ollie will be very excited at this point of the show to discuss the judges who are judging this season of España. It is Anna Locking, 2020 National Fashion winner, and Javier Ambrosi and Javier Calvo, who are the creators of La Veneno. Am I saying it right?
La Veneno.
La Veneno.
So good. Such a good show.
Ollie, what do you think of the judges?
I love the judges. First and foremost, to be serious, I think they're great additions. I love their critiques. For the most part, they're not mean. Like, you know, like sometimes our season of US drag could be like really mean. Even Down Under, they're just so respectful, regardless of if it's a bad thing. They say it the way they say it. They're not disrespectful with how they critique, regardless of whether you agree with their critiques. Mm-hmm. And I also am. I just love Javier.
Which Javier? There's two Javiers.
Calvo. I think he's so dreamy, and every time like he is judging, I kind of am like forgetting I'm watching the show and I'm pretending I'm there. So he's my Carmen for the show.
Ollie, when Javier and Daniel, as I will refer to Carmen as, when they're in LA, we can double date.
Okay. Well, I like this idea. Name the time, the place.
Name the time, name the place. Attention, Daniel, Mora Rojas, and Javier Calvo. Well, Javier, when you break up with your Javier, Ollie's ready. I don't know. Daniel may have a boyfriend too. I don't know. But we're, my philosophy in life, Ollie, I don't know if I've ever told you this. If you can't find a boyfriend, take someone else's. So that...
My philosophy is sometimes sharing is caring.
That's right. That's a very good point, Ollie. All right, you guys. So those are the permanent judges, along with Supreme Deluxe. So, Ollie, what do you think of Supreme Deluxe as the Rue of the season? Any overall thoughts on her so far?
I really do love her. I think she is just she's also another one who's just so excited to be there. And she seems like such an advocate for her cast, her judges. We'll talk about more later what happens like episode 3. Yeah. Like she just seems like she's like the driving force of like the energy that I think, which a host has to have that positivity, to have that upbeat that makes you want to come back every single week to watch this show. And I think she's doing an amazing job. I've enjoyed her looks. I'm like, Rue, you got to step it up because she's coming for your gig, literally. Like she's killing it with some of these runways. And I love her just coming in. She's also just so professional. Did I already say that? Like
no,
when she's in the workroom, she's just like, damn, she's a great host. So good. So I'm a huge fan of her.
Yeah. Well, you can tell that she's been doing this for a long time. I had to Google her when they first mentioned that she was the host because I didn't know, obviously I didn't know who she was, but she is very big. She's like Rue, actor, singer, performer. She's done it all. She's been very big there. So
Rue's a recording artist. Remember? No.
Right. On episode 1, they had a guest judge, John. Hold on, Cutarajena. I think is how he said it. I don't know. He's an actor and model, very attractive man. I also kind of like, Ollie, tell me if I'm wrong, I kind of like that Supreme has longer interactions with the judges when she's on the runway. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that?
It makes you get to know the judges more, and also her as well when the queens aren't there, because obviously we watch for the queens, but it's also nice to get in touch with your judges because they're the ones, they're driving force to who goes home, so it's a nice kind of like to give them a little bit more spotlight and attention, because I don't want to bash on Down Under sometimes, but I don't know who like Reese is really. He's a funny guy, but it's nice to kind of give more attention to these judges. And sorry, Reese didn't get a whole lot of time. Like, okay, we won't talk about Down Under, but like,
save it for Monday. We can get all of our angst out on Monday when we have to do the finale. All right. So again, category is for the runway. Rummage sale couture is what I called it. That's not what they called it, but that's what I'm calling it. So these are just the tops and the bottoms. So I'll go through them. There's 6 of them, so I'll go through them one at a time. First up, Ollie, is Ugaseo, who I actually really am enjoying on the show. Overall thoughts, here you go.
I think they did such a great job of incorporating not only the materials, but also just like their drag aesthetic. Like that's literally something I think they would just make on their own. And I thought it was the best. Yeah. Arguably, because Carmen was also so good, but like I really thought this was a deserved win for the week.
Yeah. Oh,
So
completely.
good. So
Completely.
good.
And I think, you know, it's so funny, and I hate to say this. I know we keep comparing this to other seasons and stuff. I think on a regular season, I don't think she would have won. I think Carmen would have won. I just, you know, you can tell that they appreciate what Ugaseo does, and that she's not like Carmen. She's not like the other one. She's very unique, and they're giving her credit where credit is due. And she did, I think, and as much as I adore Carmen, I was so glad they gave it to her. Because that's what I kept thinking. I'm like, well, they're going to give it to Carmen because she's the pretty girl, and the pretty girl always wins. So I was thrilled that she won the
and she also sold it too, with the emotion, the crying, and the mop of like mopping up the tears. And Anna, the judge, loved it. And I love that they actually have like her, who is like a fashion winner expert on the panel to help kind of like incorporate more of like the fashion along with the art, you know. So I think as long as you have that combination, like it makes for a great judging. And I agree, like it was great, and so deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up is Sagittaria. Ollie, what did you think of Sagittaria's look?
I liked it. I think it came out really good. You know, I love like I think she got like like a ball pit or something, and the way she incorporated it, she almost made it look a little bit iridescent. Like some of the balls weren't fully painted, and so it created like this weird like iridescent look. I don't know if you noticed it, but I totally really liked it. I also just love that type of wig style. Like it just was fun to look at, and I didn't think she was going to do well in this challenge, to be honest. But it's definitely one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
I love the silhouette.
I really liked it. I wasn't as, I like that style wig. I agree 1,000% with that. I just thought it looked, I wanted there to be more of it. Like it just looked a little throw on and go to me. But at the same time, I was thinking, well, what other hair would you wear with it too? And I'm really not, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but I'm really not a fan of those kind of shoes either. I don't know if you remember what kind of shoes she's wearing. Just like platform with the acrylic bands and like open. I really don't wear open toes, or I really try to avoid it at all costs. Because you're wearing pantyhose, so it looks weird to wear pantyhose with an open toe shoe, in my opinion. So I'm never a fan of that. Although I don't think she was wearing.
Okay,
but
I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah. Both of them were in the top, by the way. So next up is the Macarena. Let me grab her photo. Ollie, what did you think of the Macarena's runway?
Honestly, obviously it was in the bottom, but I think there was someone worse than her that should have been in her place, or at least in the bottom as well.
Oh, was it somebody that was already in the bottom?
Wait. Yes, she was in the bottom. Sorry, I don't know why I thought she wasn't in the bottom, but
she should have been lip syncing.
Yes. Okay. So I will defend her a little bit. Like I don't think she was the worst, but I think it wasn't as exciting as someone like Hugo Seo's or Sagittaria's, because it was very like simple, like very flamenco. Something that wasn't as exciting, but at least she was able to incorporate it so it looked like it wasn't like full on the materials. You know what I'm saying? It looked okay, you know? Yeah. I also really liked her personality too. Yeah. So, and I felt really bad when she was, you know, spoilers, sent packing.
Yeah. Well, you know what I will say, Ollie? I was thinking about, again, our first impression. I'm so glad we did that first impressions. I need to start doing that. I think I want to start doing those all the time, just because to see how my opinions change from just a look to getting to know them and seeing them, because this was probably my biggest mistake in the looks video. I might have even said she was going to be first to go home, which obviously we were right about, but I was just not expecting to really like her as much as I do now. Like, I'm semi-obsessed with her now. Like just what she does, how we'll talk about it later, how she leaves the show, and just her energy was just it really, and I'm not trying to praise myself by any means, but it really reminded me a lot of myself. Like I felt like we have a very similar idea of why we do this and why we want to do this. And our even the aesthetic, like I could see myself if I was stuck with a box like that of trying to do something with the flamingo and stuff like that. You know, I think because there were a lot of really good ones, you have to nitpick. So she ended up in the bottom. But I was so bummed to see her go when all was said and done. I truly, truly was. So, yeah. All right. Next up, also in the bottom, which at first surprised me, but I don't know. I guess looking back, maybe now, maybe not so much. But Dovima Nurmi, Ollie, what did you think of Dovima's?
You know what? I think it was mostly like when she was coming down the runway, she looked extremely uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And that made me as a viewer be uncomfortable too. Because I'm like, I'm not saying she didn't look confident. Maybe she felt so confident, but like it just read like she could barely move in that thing. Thing. And it wasn't like, it was interesting. It was like this mermaid. I guess the concept was like a mermaid got in like a fishnet or something. At least that's what I thought. But I think it was just so hard for her to move in. And so, and I always say this, don't wear something down the runway on Drag Race that it's hard to move in because you might be lip syncing. So it wasn't like so I can see why she was in like the bottom. She also kind of just like there was just so much going on too, I think. Yeah. With it.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think at first glance, I loved it. I thought it was very creative. I thought it was very her. But then the more when I rewatched the episode for this, I was like, I mean, I guess because of the walking and the presentation, it kind of does make it kind of wah, 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 you know? Mm-hmm. But there was definitely somebody who deserved.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, did I just set myself up for this? So next up, only person who's been on the runway all 3 episodes, by the way. To get critiqued on the runway each episode is Poopy. I like to call her Shitty.
Oh boy.
Ollie, I'm gonna let you because I think you're going to say it a lot nicer than I will, so I'll let you say it.
This was the worst of the episode for sure. So I was really surprised when she wasn't in the bottom 2. Sorry, spoilers, but like there wasn't a clear concept. She looked like she was like this somewhat character from Candyland going to take a shower, or like not Candyland, it's like Bathroom Land, because she got like a bathroom like box, I think, if I remember correctly, or something along the lines. Yeah. I liked what she did with the sponge shoes. Like she was trying to do some sponge shoes. I thought that would have been cute. It looked really good it looks good from afar. I know I say that a lot. It looks good from afar. The shoes, there's just the shoes, but there was no clear concept, and it was kind of like Dovima, where there was just so much going on, and it's not concise or conceptual, like I said. So it was just a mess and a half.
Well, I'm feeling very familiar feelings from season 13, where I just don't want to talk about her because they are going to do enough of it for me. So I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't really want to talk about her. And because I really want to talk about the next person, who is Carmen Farala. Farala? I hope I'm saying it right. I know she gets mad when people pronounce it wrong. Who looked stunning. I mean, just the fact that she made pants on the runway. Hello.
Yeah, and I love seeing pants on the runway. And I was a little worried because I think a lot of the queens aren't sewers. So she was able to pull it off, though. That looks like off the rack, but like in a good way. Like it looks like you can go buy that at freaking wherever. She calls herself like, what is it? She likes Gucci or
Versace.
Versace. Like you can get that from Versace. So it was totally like you could say, oh, like she got her brand within those unconventional materials. And I was like, oh, Carmen might win this. So damn, they both just killed it this week. And I thought she just did. She got the Carmen down with the.
Yeah, totally. I agree with all that. Now I thought this was funny, Ollie. Well, not funny, but the safe queens. So during the runway, when they cut to the safe queens in the back before everybody came off the runway, they all thought the Macarena was going to be in the top. And even on episode 2 at the beginning, Killer Queen says, "I'm surprised she went home. I really thought she was going to be in the top." And I don't know if they were all saying that because of, like we were saying, because of her personality, because she's, so fun-loving that they wouldn't possibly send her home. But they were all really surprised about her being in the bottom and going home. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was interesting to point out. Like as we said, Hugo won the runway challenge. The lip sync was between the Macarena and Dovima Nurmi, which it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It should have been shitty. And probably the Macarena, unfortunately. But there was thunderous applause after the performance from the judges. Even Supreme said, "You've made this very difficult for me." Which I thought it was. I thought it was actually for a first lip sync. Because I feel like the first lip sync, we always kind of like, no. But I was just I literally for a moment went, oh, maybe they're going to send Dovima home on the first episode. Because I wasn't sure. I really truly was not sure who was going to go home. So they're also doing this on España where when the lip sync is done, all the judges write a name and pass them down to Supreme. Do you like that?
I don't know, because Canada did that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's actually, I'm sure they actually do have like an all say in like, at least I think that's exactly what they do in Canada. Like they all have a say in it. So it's not fully, it makes it feel more like less produced, I guess. I don't know, but it's interesting. It's nice that it's not just like one person's decision or producers or whatever you want to call it, so it feels more of I don't know, like group consensus, and I think that's important. It feels good. It feels better, at least as a viewer.
I'm just curious. I was curious what you thought about it. I mean, I'm kind of indifferent to it too. I'm kind of like, whatever, do whatever you want to do. Thank you. Gabe's in the chat room now too. Gabe, yes, I don't know if you just joined us or you just spoke up in the chat, but we have been talking about Carmen not just being a beauty, but a fucking talent. I agree 1,000%. I do like the passing name. Was that Chucky Chuck? Yeah. He likes the passing of the name, thinks it shows real judging. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Rue's thing is like, and she says, you're here to give me advice, but ultimately the final decision is mine to make.
She goes silent.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't know if like, I mean, I would have to sit down and talk to Rue. Does she really pay a lot of attention to what Michelle and Carson and Ross are telling her? Or does she kind of like, I kind of know who I'm going to pick. I just kind of want to see if they're going to try and argue someone else's case. You know what I mean? So be interesting to talk to her and find that out. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. The Macarena's exit was not only a class act, but hysterical at the same time.
It was.
I mean, if you haven't, and I'm not going to tell you everything she said. It's not important, but if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Just to see, I just thought that she handled leaving so well. I would love to have her back. I would truly love to have her back. Maybe she'll come join us because she speaks English. Maybe she can come join our panel. I'll have to message her and see if she'll come join us because we are a big fan of the Macarena here.
And she's also she's not afraid to like laugh at herself. And I always love that. Like some people take themselves too seriously. It's kind of like Dovima probably was doing that. So it was just really refreshing. So it's definitely like sad to see her go. Yeah,
totally. And then, and then just to end that out, when Dovima came to hug her and when Dovima won and was walking off the runway, she came over to hug the Macarena. Macarena says to her, "Don't stop believing in yourself." I just thought, like, again, like what, like she wasn't even thinking about that moment. She was thinking about Dovima earlier in the workroom, being down on herself and, you know, second guessing and questioning whether she should be there and stuff like that. And that's what she was worried about, not going home.
Mm-hmm.
Class act. Round of applause for the Macarena, ladies and gentlemen. Another one I'd be more than happy to pay to go see. And then I don't know, I'm guessing it's because, I don't know if it's the translation, but like, you know, we end all of ours with, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen? España is saying, who cares what I do? Who cares what I say? This is me, and this is how I'm going to be. And then the queens respond, I will never change. And I love it. I love it. You know, another thing I think, Ollie, I don't know if we said this yet. I love that they're making it their own. Like, yes, they've got the aspects of it. Yes, they're doing their own thing. They're, you know, it's got the format of Drag Race, but I truly feel like it's their own show. And I love it. I'm living for it. Living for it. Some mirror moments from the first episode. Macarena talking about her body image and how she, you know, is going to went to a therapist to work on it, and how now, like she said, she's much more confident in being in the workroom, on TV with her shirt off or in her underwear or whatever. Again, important conversations. Glad they're having it. Again, you know, I also feel like there's a lot, you know, when I was doing the mirror moments for this show, there have been so many in 3 episodes. Like, I truly feel like I know so much about these queens in 3 episodes. All of them. It's not just Poopy. It's not just, you know, Carmen. It's everyone I know a little something about already. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And kudos to the Macarena for sharing that story. Also, I think it was Ugaseo that asked the room who identifies as non-binary. And they had the whole conversation about the trans revolution going on right now, and everybody talked about that. You know, it was funny because when they said trans revolution, in my head, I was like, oh, I've never heard it referred to as that. And I do feel like it does kind of feel like that to me right now, because I feel like there's so many people. And I think a lot of it is, I think it's always been there. I think people just have always kind of kept it quiet kind of thing. Like, I think it's just more, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's more, because when people talk about it more, people are more comfortable with doing it, and they don't live a, you know, quiet, you know, miserable life hiding that side of them. Now they feel much more comfortable in coming out and doing those things and stuff like that. So, again, and this is the first episode. You know, we're still in the first episode. First episode has definitely got more stuff packed into it, I felt like, than the other 2. So hopefully the other 2 we won't take as long. But
I also think, since, real quick, because of that, the trans revolution, like, I also think because, you know, España has had this legendary icon, La Veneno, for so long, for years, like, it's kind of been already established there. Not obviously not from the country, but like, at least that's, as an outside viewer, it's kind of like, maybe it has been a little bit more inclusive from where they are, and that's why they're so open, at least, you know. So I think it's amazing and it's great, and that I'm glad that other parts of the world are also being able to express themselves and be their full authentic selves as well.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Gabe, for Gabe. Is that what you're gonna say?
No, I'm just gonna, sorry. I'm just so excited about the show. Yeah, that's all.
I am too. I hope you guys are too. And I hope if at least somebody who kind of clicks on this will make them want to go watch it, because I really think I agree with you, Gabe, 100,000%. España is a breath of fresh air we've been needing, completely and totally. One last thing for the mirror moments. I just thought, again, another just endearing moment for Carmen when she talked about her parents not buying her dolls. So she made them out of markers. Like she would put yarn on the top of a thing and use that as a doll. Like, just like, I mean, come on. How do you not fall in love with somebody who is going to share that kind of story with you? You know, it's like, it just, I don't know. I've just been having a good time. Oh, also too, Ugaseo and Sagittaria both talk about how their moms stood up for them as queer kids. I think it was Ugaseo said that her mom stopped hanging out with the other moms because they talked so bad about him, or I forget how he identifies, but about Hugaseo. And this, like, I mean, that's so Sagittaria, Ugaseo, the Macarena, Carmen. I mean, 4 of 10 queens already, you know, are in the mirror moment, you know, in one episode.
And that's why, and like, I usually am kind of no lie. Like, sometimes I don't like the workroom, like, footage.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we just get to it? But I love it. I'm like, I need more, like, in this hour span. Like, so it's great. It's nice to really enjoy it from like start to finish, the entire episode.
Yeah, I agree. Hello, a disco queen. She's finally joining us. Thank you. We're only on episode 1, so we still have 2 more episodes to go. So you're okay. Stay with us, a disco queen. All right. So my quote of the episode is, "Go ahead and eat me." The Macarena's exit line. I couldn't resist. I loved it. I thought it was one of the best exit lines ever. But yeah. All right. So that was episode 1. We got episode 1. Boom. Done. All right. So episode 2 was titled Divas. Some odds and ends about this episode. You know, I wrote it in here. We've already kind of talked about it, but episode 2, you can sense the camaraderie already in the room. Can you not?
Mm-hmm. Especially after the first elimination.
Yeah.
And the shock of it, you know, we already talked about it, but they're like, damn, she went home. So it's like, at that, like, damn, anything can happen at this point. So it's just nice. And it's also the first season, smaller cast, it's intimate. So it creates it feels like more of a safe space than regular seasons, obviously.
Yeah, totally. Another thing I just think is, I kind of mentioned this earlier, how emotional Carmen is. It's so funny because, again, it almost kind of reminds me of myself, because I'm the same way. Certain things, I can guarantee you, this bitch is going to cry. If I have to talk about certain people, certain situations, you know, that's always my thing, is like, oh, I would probably be a crying mess anytime they said anything nice. I feel like it makes her so endearing. It's not like, you know, she's not walking around like, well, I say that as like she's not walking around like, oh, I'm the pretty one. She actually does. Actually, I think this is the episode, if I'm not mistaken, that she comes in the workroom with Dovima and Sagittaria as the anti-ugly busters. And they're coming in and they're shooting all the ugly queens and stuff. So, but we'll get to more of that later, because it does come up again later. But I don't know. She's so endearing to me. And it's not just because I'm going to be dating Daniel soon. But, and then, you know, we've already talked about Poopy. I just, you know, I'm getting it's you know, we keep saying the love and the stuff like that. And it may just, again, it may be something like with Art Simone on Down Under. I'm just not getting her humor. But her humor to me is not coming off as funny. It's coming off as mean. And she went for Killer Queen, like, had a whole bit about how Killer Queen can't sing and Killer Queen is going to bring the team down. Killer Queen wasn't bad. Killer Queen was good in that challenge. I don't know. And she keeps going after Carmen. You know, obviously I don't like it that she's going after my girl Carmen. But, and then she also made fun of Dovima for getting emotional about the Macarena's exit. Like, I just don't feel like she's, I don't know. If there's anybody on the season that I feel like is doing the show to do the show and be on TV, it's her.
Yeah, I think now that you say that, maybe that is true. If it's not true, to me, in my perspective, like I don't really like. She doesn't annoy me as much because I think, to me, not saying that she is, comes off as pretty insecure.
Yes.
And to me, I think maybe what she's doing is just projecting some of her own insecurities onto the other girls.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that she's insecure, but that's what it's coming off because, I mean, we'll talk about it. Her look this week, are you kidding me? So it's more so it doesn't annoy me. It's just like, it makes me feel a little bit bad for her if that's the case, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but maybe, like you said, maybe she's doing the show to have that villainette and stay on longer to be on TV.
Well, they also say, and I did Google her when we did the first looks, and I didn't really get anything. I did Google her again because they kept calling her a legend. So obviously she's been around Spain or Madrid for a long time, so she's very well known. I feel like all the queens are kind of like, oh, I know who Poopy is. I know who Poopy is, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then they mentioned that she was on Spain's Got Talent. So I did go watch. It's in Spanish and there was not subtitles, so I couldn't hear what was going on. But I did see her performance on there, and it was not good. I mean, it was very reminiscent of what we're seeing right now. So my sincere hope is that we're not going to get this. We're going to give her a pass because she's a name.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what's happening. So if there is any dick in the soup, I think it's with her.
Yeah. I will say that hopefully we have to learn about her a little bit more. Like maybe we'll see a softer side because right now we're only seeing her as that, the way the show is painting her as like that witty, like shady queen, you know? So maybe there's this softer side to Poopy that we could kind of like see, oh, there's a human in there, you know? But I will say, if anything, and I'm defending her, at least she's making the show a little bit more enjoyable because, I mean, the Love Fest of the 13 was a little bit like gag me a little bit sometimes. Yeah. And it's like, come on, we like a little shade and drama because like with my siblings, are you kidding me? We fight all the time, but it's like, yeah. But yeah, so in her defense, at least she's bringing something because if it was just a Love Fest all a season, it would be like, ugh. You know,
and I get that, and I don't want to say I think it's because you know it's again like I want to be able to say I love them all, not I love them all except for Poopy. You know what I mean? Like stop ruining it for me, you know. And I'm like it's just reminding me of art, where we have to hear art's commentary on everything. And I feel like no matter what happens on España, it's a cut to Poopy because she's funny and she's famous. We need to get her opinion on the screen. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Sorry, and I don't want to ruin her for you, Chucky Chuck, because I know you do like her. And I don't want to make you second guess yourself. But and Hello Kitty is not a real fan of Poopy either. So... Thank you, Poopy. Or thank you, Kitty. All right. So the mini challenge for episode 2 is drag a word. It was the name of the game, drag a word. And it was basically scrambled letters, and they had to find the figure out what the word based on the letters that were scrambled, and we got to see our pit crew for the first one. Yeah, I think it was the first time we saw them all. Like they all kind of came in and were a part of it, and they were. I mean, if I can't have Carmen, there's a few pit crew members that I'm like, I did follow them all on Instagram. Don't you worry. But. So that was the game. So they had to unscramble stuff. Inti won the first round. I'm not even going to try and pronounce these Spanish words that they were spelling. Basically, I'll give you the translated words that they were spelling: fever, sausage, and knee pad. Ha ha ha. Inti won the first round. Poopy won the second round, and then the third round was Poopy against Inti, and Poopy won the third round. And so for winning, she became the team captain for the Maxi Challenge, which was two teams working separately to compose lyrics for a song where they had to sing about the importance of acting and feeling like a diva. Poopy's team was called 5 1/4. Whatever. It was consisted of Poopy, Inti, Arancha, Dovima, and then Drag Volcano. But Drag Volcano got to choose her team because she was the last from them choosing. Ugaseo's team, he was they were the captain of the other team because they had won the Maxi Challenge the week before, and they were called the Metal Donnas. It was Ugaseo, Carmen, Sagittaria, and Killer Queen. Now, do you know what the Metal Donnas is?
No.
Did you get a sense that you should have, like, I felt like I was missing out on the joke with the name of their group. Did you feel that?
Probably if they're, yeah, probably.
Well, I have a good friend whose husband is from Spain. So I was texting with him last night and I was like, hey, ask your husband what, I said, I kind of explained what happened. They picked this name, Metal Donnas. Does it mean something? He said, this is what he thought of. He said, it's a stretch, but they called it Metal Donnas because it sounds like the Spanish word metadona, which means methadone, which is a narcotic similar to morphine. I don't know. He also thought that maybe because it sounded like Madonna. I mean, if somebody knows the reason, I don't know. Like, I just felt like I was missing out on, like, why is this so funny? Why did they think this was such a great name for them? Because they seemed like, this is a great name. You know what I mean? Like,
that makes sense if it's coming. That's Killer Queen's team, right? So, I mean, Doctor, Morphine.
Oh, that could be.
Maybe the Madonna reference as well. That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Sagittaria, though, that thought of it.
I don't get the 5 1/4, though. What's that?
Because there were 5 of them, and because Drag Volcano was tall. That's why. 5 1/4, because she's taller.
Yeah, okay.
That was...
okay, now, all right. Yeah.
Well, please, if somebody's watching this later and you know why Metal Donnas was so exciting, please write it in the comments on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this. Or if you're watching live now and you hear this, let me know. All right. So we're going to talk about their performances and runways together because that's how they got judged. So again, Anna Locking, Javier Ambrosi, Ollie's new soon-to-be husband, Javier Calvo. And guest judge was Paca La Piranha, who Ollie obviously knows. He's shaking his head. She is breakout star from Veneno on HBO Max. And I guess I was reading about her. She now has a spin-off show because she was such a big...
She does?
It's and it's something, I don't know that it's on HBO Max, but I think it's like she gives advice or something. I'm gonna see if I can find it while we're going through these.
Because she's so funny. She's in the show La Veneno. Like, she is literally the breakout star, as you said. You wait for her to come back. She's not like the biggest character in that, but she plays a pretty big role in it. You just cannot help but laugh every single time with her one-liners.
Will you do me a favor? I just thought, because you watch Veneno.
La Veneno?
You've seen it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you tell me, because I don't know anything about it. I know it's about Christina, correct? Mm-hmm. Tell us all who don't know what it's about, please.
It's about like the sex icon Cristina Ortiz Rodriguez, who is this trans superstar. She was a singer, dancer back in I forget if it was the 80s or the 90s, but she was a huge trailblazer in the trans community. And she just kind of like really revolutionized what it is to be trans. And the story and the way they like pace it is very all over the place. So it goes from past and present. It's also there's another main character who isn't Christina, her experience as a trans woman and transitioning, and how Christina inspired her. And so you kind of go through the life of her as well as Christina, and showing kind of how the juxtaposition between the two characters, the trans women, and what Christina had to go through. Like, she's been through some crazy shit, you know, abuse, drugs. It's just so much. And I don't want to give away too much because it is such an amazing show that I can't recommend it enough. And to watch it with subtitles, because there is like an English, if you can't do subtitles, do the English voiceover, but I'm kind of all over the place with the explanation of it, but it was just it's such an important show that I think everyone should watch.
What is Veneno? What is Veneno?
That was like her name, as like what she was known as, because she became a television star, and that was her like kind of like her star name, her title name.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But please go watch it.
Okay. I mean, I keep debating whether to get HBO Max. I just have so many things that I'm like, oh, another one. But I'm wanting HBO Max more and more every time because there's all these good things.
I'm sure there's a free trial. Free trial, binge it, cancel the free trial.
What does Gabe say here? Hold on. Gabe says, as a multilingual person, I definitely love watching without subtitles first, then rewatch and see how accurately it's subtitled. Are you referring to Drag Race España, or are you talking about Veneno on HBO? I'm just curious, Gabe. There's a lot on YouTube. Oh, okay, there's a lot on YouTube about her, a Disco Queen says. And Veneno means poison. Thank you, Luis Manuel Hernandez Elias. You know I love saying your name. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Chucky, for asking Lewis. Maybe Lewis knows what the Metal Donna was in reference to of the team name, since we've got Lewis in the room. All right, so runway and performance, tops and bottoms. Again, we're only going to do tops and bottoms. This and the runway theme was a tribute to La Veneno. All right, so first up is, although I don't know, I just listed her first, but first one we're going to show is Carmen. Here's Carmen's look. She came out in a red cape and then revealed this look. Ollie?
Iconic. Literally, I think she killed it. She totally embodied. It was literally what the challenge was all about. And you still see Carmen, obviously, but I'm like, damn, Carmen looks so much like Christina.
Oh,
but,
really?
Like, and I love that, like, she was, in judging, she was holding her hand up the entire time. They're like, you could put your hand down. And she's like, no, I'm fine. But it was so good. I loved like the Adam and Eve symbolism with the snake, obviously, the forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
So good.
I mean,
she's not relying on that body. I know that's like the common critique of the body queens or whatever, but like, she killed it.
I mean, yes, she's showing her body in the challenge, but it's not in the typical way like Courtney Act. I'm just going to come out in a bathing suit and a big wig, you know? Ladies and gentlemen, our next host, Winston Montgomery.
Oh, hello, Winston.
Coming to say hello to everybody. Say hi to everybody, Winnie Poops. Oh, I love you too, buddy. It's getting close to their, you know, DINNER. So I got it, you know. Anyway, so that was our Carmen. Yeah, she's just. And now they're saying Venom is or Veneno. Venom is the translation for, which then would make the snake even more, you know, significant, I think. Did you know that?
What?
Venom? La
No.
Veneno? Oh, okay.
But it makes sense because La is like the feminine version, so she's poison.
Yeah. Yeah. As opposed to Anita Wiglet's Eve. Who said that? Rex? How dare you bring up? We're trying to forget about Down Under. All right. So next up, again, I'm gonna let you talk because I just don't want to even talk about her. Is shitty. I mean, poopy. Your thoughts, Ollie, on?
It read more Shania Twain, like I feel like a woman, rather than Christina. I just love that, Poopy, she talks so much shit, but yet she comes out like this. So, like, I can't even be mad. I was surprised that she was wasn't she in the top, kind of?
Yes. It was her and Carmen in the top.
I mean, I think she did good in the challenge, no lie.
Yeah.
I think she did good, but like this was just like, I think it definitely evened out. Like, nope, you're not winning. Because I just felt like if this was totally like Shania Twain, damn, I feel like a woman. That's
totally.
Or no, not Shania Twain.
It's
that don't impress me.
It's me much. Yeah.
I gotta mix it up. My bad.
Yeah. Rex Trek. Who are you talking? I'm not sure who you're referring to. Rex Trek. She bugs me too. Why does she bug you? I'm not sure who you're referring to. Maybe Poopy. Yeah, I think and that's what I think it was. I think she did okay in the challenge, and so in the performance, and then so they put her in the top for that. But no. And this is where I'm gonna get into something later where I think maybe one of the first appearances of Dick in the Soup in regards to Poopy, but I'll get to it in just a second. All right, so next on the runway, this is bottom, is Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha. Here's her tribute to La Veneno.
Hey, she might not be a bottom. She could be verse or top. Yeah, this is my girl, but this is like the worst week. Worst, can't even talk, look of the week. To be perfectly honest, I have to say it. This is my girl. This is my favorite, but like it didn't read Christina. I agree with the judging. It was so unfortunate because I'm like, oh, girl, like come on, I love you. But I think it just didn't. I didn't see it. I just didn't see it. I didn't see the reference. I didn't see the influence of Christina, unfortunately. So I understand where the judges were coming from. Yeah, and it's sad. I was like, no, Arantxa.
I know. I did the same thing, and I get the idea. When she explained it, what she was going for, it was more like this. I'm letting her influence my choice of drag, which I don't mind that, but you just didn't get. And because you know the show and you know who this person is, the fact that you're saying that makes me go, okay, at least I feel okay feeling the way that I was feeling about it, not knowing anything about who she was. So, that's true, Chucky Chuck. Good point. This is like the U.S. runway Night of 1,000 Madonnas. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they did this like that, did it again. Because she's probably that popular there that they probably could get away with doing it again. All right. Next on the runway is Drag Volcano. Let me grab her picture for you, Ali. Drag Volcano as her tribute to La Veneno.
It really was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Like, you can't deny that this was like so flippin', like, gosh, god darn. That looks like a walking statue.
Yeah.
I loved when you stayed up close, there's so much detail, so much intricacy of like seeing the multiple different pictures of La Veneno. Christina, like throughout the different eras of her, like it was like a shrine. Like she was literally a walking shrine in those platform shoes. Like, oh my goodness. So it was crazy to see her in the bottom, but I think I understand why she was in the bottom because
of the performance.
And I also I feel like we haven't talked about her a whole lot so far, so she isn't giving a whole lot to like the cameras, and I don't know, you need to if you want to, I don't know, maybe that's producing coming up all of a sudden, but she's a little forgettable, but I loved her look. It was beautiful.
Yeah, they definitely, and they've talked about it, that she just, there's a point early in the episode where she says something when they're choosing the teams, and they're like, "Oh, she can talk," blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
necessarily hold it against somebody who is not a big personality. I'm not gonna dump, but you do kind of have to find a way to stand out. Then, I mean, I definitely think her looks make her stand out.
Right.
So I was a little shocked because this was one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen. I mean, it was just so meticulous, and I thought there was a part of me that felt like she did have a little bit of a right to be upset. But again, I think it was because of her performance. I'm curious if she didn't wear the platforms for the performance, if she would have been in the bottom.
Yeah.
Just a thought. All right, and last but not least is Inti for the runway. Let me grab her picture. Inti, runway 2. There it is. All right, here you go, Ollie.
Oh yes, and this was. I was like, oh my, why did I forget about her?
Mm-hmm.
She was amazing. It was beautiful.
But in the bottom.
Right. But it was beautiful regardless. But I thought she was going to be in the bottom with Arantxa, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where my shock came into this episode, but it wasn't like a bad thing. I wasn't like, but I loved her look. Yeah. And I think, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later. Like Inti had like a really good episode or story in this episode, but definitely I think this was a good interpretation of Christina because you also saw Inti at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it was a perfect blend, I think.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm just going off of what I hear them talking, based on the episodes and stuff like that. So seeing that was like, okay, I feel like this is accurate. So again, I think she was in the bottom for performance.
I will say something. I was a little bit bummed that there wasn't another person on stage because there was only 5 of them, and usually it's 6. So I was like, I want someone else to be critique. So there would be 3 bottoms, 3 tops.
Well, let me point something out, which I don't know if you caught. And this is what I was going to mention earlier, a little dick in the soup. Carmen won, and her other teammates were all safe. So why didn't Ugaseo's team just win the team challenge, and then the other team would be in the bottom? I mean, it literally, Carmen won, and everybody else was safe. So that could have been the winning team. And they were 10 times better than the other team. Lyrics were better. Their look seemed a lot more cohesive. I think a lot of it had to do with Drag Volcano being so tall. Mm-hmm. But they were hands down the better team. So they should have won and walked off the stage. And it should have been kept in the bottom. This is where I think it's a little dick in the soup. Because I feel like they did this to put Poopy in the top again. Because it was only Poopy and Carmen in the top.
Right.
So that's my little dick in the soup opinion.
Very interesting. I will say that there were some like weak links in like both teams. Yeah. So it did make it like a little awkward judging. Like our one bad critique of the episode. Oh. Yeah. But regardless, like it didn't make me upset, but yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting theory. I can see it though.
Just putting it out there because that's what we're here to do. So they did ask Paca, the guest judge, who looks the most like Christina, and she said Inti and Carmen was because she's and I don't know if you said this. Paca was actually friends with Christina, the real Christina. Mm-hmm. In real life. So that's why they were asking her. Oh, I said that. Okay, so it was my theory of the dick in the soup was my next thing. All right, so Carmen ended up winning. Thank God. Well-deserved. I mean, her performance and her runway were hands down the best. The lip sync was between Drag Volcano and Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha. I don't think it was the correct bottom 2. Mm-hmm. I think like you, I think Inti probably should have been there. I don't know. I thought Drag Volcano got a little bit of a bum deal.
Yeah. I felt bad But also, like, again, I don't, because I also love Inti and Arancha. So
yeah.
Maybe this was some dick in the soup.
Well, you know, the other thing, and somebody mentioned this in the chat. I'm sorry, I don't remember where it was, but somebody said, so Drag Volcano also has a moment in this at the end of the episode where she talks about how the judges told her that she should take off the platforms and wear regular shoes like everybody else. And then she makes a comment, well, why don't they have to wear platform shoes? Like, why does it have to be me coming down off of the platforms? Why can't it be them coming up on platforms and trying to do what I do? And I definitely, you know, I feel your pain with that 1,000%. But in a little bit of a defense, in episode 1, the judges, when they were deliberating, do say Carmen needs to show more versatility, that if she's just going to do Versace and that kind of stuff, she's not going to make it. And they actually say the same thing about Hugaseo in the first challenge, in the first episode.
Yeah.
And
I'm
if
sure
he
that
keeps doing that, you know, that it's going to be hard for him to continue on.
Right. And I'm sure
So I will, yeah.
No, I like that you brought that up, because it is really, it's there. Like, and I'm pretty sure they want Arancha to be more, like, a little bit more polished, you know, keep who you are, but like, I mean, she was in the bottom because of her look and her performance probably, but the look was the worst of the week. So I'm pretty sure they want, like, versatility, like you're saying, from multiple queens. Poopy girl, speaking of being polished, come on.
Right? Girl, somebody in the comments also was talking about how horrible her makeup is. And it is. It's so bad. I mean, she's literally like, there's a part where they show her taking off her eyelashes, and they're literally like CVS eyelashes.
Those weren't Bat-Me lashes.
Those were not velvet Bat-Me lashes that I will be wearing on Sunday at Beaches West Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes I even double stack velvet lashes. Thank you very much. So just so y'all know. All right, Mirror Moments, episode 2. We were mentioning this came up earlier. You were saying Inti had a very emotional episode. And she talked a lot about Christina's influence on her, how she lived in the neighborhood with her, and that Christina actually spoke to her and told her, like, how to deal with transitioning and stuff like that. I just thought it was such a cool tie-in, you know, to the episode. Whether it was planned or not, I mean, I was a sucker.
Yeah, totally. I thought that was such a beautiful moment. And that's when I was like, oh, Inti, I love you so much. And like the fact that, like, I just loved her, like, quick little statement. It was like the most simplest thing that she said. She's such a quiet person, but like she said that, like, you don't need a piece of paper to be trans. You don't need hormones to be trans. You know who you are. Like, no one's going to tell you different. And I love those conversations. It's the simplest thing that some people just don't comprehend. And it's very unfortunate. But if people continue to support that and say that and put it out there on this huge platform, people will finally, hopefully, understand and learn and be open to learning about people that are on the binary, you know, typically male and female.
Yeah.
I love you, Inti.
I know. And she was another one. When we did the first looks, that we kind of were a little harsh on her look because it looked a little thrown together. And again, you know, we're the first to admit when we've made mistakes and stuff like that. But again, this is what I say all the time. Like, I can forget about a ripped hem or a hole in their pantyhose if I am entertained, if I have an emotional connection to what you're doing and what you're trying to do. I'm not going to pay attention to any of that. It's the reverse that never happens. You're never like, oh, I like you because of your rhinestones. No, girl, no. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, you don't get it. I don't know. Also, and this was I talked about earlier, there's a moment where Davima has that conversation she has with Inti was so intense to me. Like, just how she was talking to Inti and was just like looking her right in the eye and saying all this stuff. And at the end, when she calls her divine, she's like, "You are divine." She says it like twice. "You are divine. You are divine." And then Killer says, "And you're brave." Like, I don't know. Like, it was just this moment where you were just like, that's what I was talking about earlier about episode 2. There was so much camaraderie and love in this episode. I really loved it. I really, really, truly loved it.
Agreed. I can't agree enough.
Yeah. Yeah. My quote of this episode goes to Paca. Here I am, celebrated, venerated, and poorly penetrated.
We have that in common, Paca.
Right? I was going to say, well, Paca, I want that on my tombstone. All right, so now we're on episode 3. Okay. We can I think this one's even going to go quicker because it seemed a little bit like when I was writing it, it went by a little bit quicker. And I'm going to mispronounce this, I'm sure. Mocatriz is the title of the episode. Mocatriz is a triple threat, actor, singer, model. The only odds and ends that I had for this was at the beginning. Ugaseo thanks Arantxa for getting rid of a big threat in Drag Volcano, which I thought was interesting that came up as well. Do you think, like, I honestly don't know, looking at, again, I'll have to go back and listen to what I said about Drag Volcano. I don't know that I would have, if I had to guess, I don't know that I would have guessed her going home second. Would you?
I definitely didn't put her in the top. Like, I know we put our own tops, but I definitely didn't think that she was going to be like a huge threat, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but like, yeah. I definitely, but then again, I was kind of like shocked that she went home second. So
yeah.
I just think she was so quiet. She really was quiet. And I think maybe they thought her coming in with the platforms, nothing against the platforms, but maybe that's why people were intimidated, because you see this tall ass, beautiful work of art, like, but yet you need to just be able to perform, at the end of the day, perform like Arantxa did. I think Arantxa did great. And I thought that the lip syncs, I didn't say this yet, but the lip syncs are like longer. Mm-hmm. So it makes it a little bit more intense. You're just like, oh God, who's going home? Because they're showing them equally too. Yeah. So it is a little bit intense sometimes, because sometimes you already know who's going home.
It's so funny because I feel like we're seeing more conversations with the judges. We're seeing more of the lip sync. We're seeing more of stuff, but not seeing I'm like, what am I seeing less of then? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how is this balance? How are they getting this balance right? And I hope World of Wonder is watching this and going, oh, we can learn from this. Because like we said at the beginning of this, we want to enjoy every season like this. So I hope that they can, instead of looking at it and going like, getting all like, oh, well, we've got 13 seasons, we know what we're doing, blah, 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 which is a lot of the problem here in Hollywood, is once you have something successful, you can't be told otherwise. So I think it might be hard for them to kind of go, tuck their tail a little bit and go, okay, maybe we could learn from what they're doing over there, because people are really liking this, Yeah. But we'll see. So the mini challenge for episode 3 is making an eye-catching sports look and write a profile about your sports star, and then play a quick football match. And that is soccer for us Americans, football for them, soccer for us. Any standouts? Killer Queen wins it. She wins the mini challenge. And hers was really funny too. Actually, when she came out, I actually laughed. Any standouts that you can remember from?
They were all so good, but I think it was Dovima who came out kind of as like with the shades. Was it Dovima?
Yes, and she had the rainbow pants. She didn't even look like, I didn't even know it was her.
She completely transformed, because she also is so quiet, and so when you see that goofy side of her come out, just like going all in, I was like, she just stood out to me the most out of everyone.
Yeah.
Complete transformation.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Chucky. I just saw this. Chucky's repeating himself. I'll say it again. Less room, less Michelle. He's saying that in reference to España being so good, is why that counts. All right. So the Maxi Challenge was to design their own advertising campaign to sell yourself to the world as a top influencer / triple threat Mocatriz, which is the name of the episode. Killer Queen got to choose the magazine and theme and then assign the others because she won the mini challenge. So Killer Queen chose the grannies. Abuela, am I saying that right? That word I knew. It was Killer Queen, and she chose Arantxa, which I thought was a very smart decision.
Right.
I thought she chose the best category, and I thought she chose the best partner she could have for her. Glamour, and then she decided to try to give everybody what she thought they would want. So she gave Glamour to Carmen and Dovima. She gave hookers to Sagittaria and Inti, and she gave nasty girls to Poopy and Hugueseo. I mean, if you're basing her choices on casting, I mean, she gets an A+.
Right. The casting was on point.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted... Yeah, go ahead.
No, but obviously Carmen obviously wants to show different sides. She wanted the old ladies, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So in a way, it was nice, but also maybe it was a little bit strategic because you're not allowing your other competitors to show versatility.
That's a very good point. That's actually a very good point.
But I don't know if that was her right. I don't know if that was her intention.
I don't think it was. No, she says she says that she wanted everybody to have what she thought that they should. She says that in the word because Carmen says to her, "I wanted the grannies. I would have loved to have that." And then she said, "No, but I gave everybody what I thought they really would have wanted." So she does say that. So the challenge, they had to pose for photos as their characters, like the cover of the magazine. That was the modeling. They had to lip sync on a treadmill, which I think was very lax because there wasn't a lot of lip syncing on the treadmill, which was the singing portion of it. And then their acting part was an improv, which actually I have to say I thought was very difficult. I mean, for somebody who studied improv, I thought what they were asked, that improv challenge was a very difficult improv challenge. I mean, they were not given anything. I feel like our versions, they give them talking points and stuff. I don't know that they did this. It seemed a little, yeah. So I'll go through those scenes. So the nasty girls got the wax from hell scene where Hugueseo had to wax Poopy. The grannies was at a disco and they had to ditch their dates and confess their love. The hookers theme was it was a mother-daughter, both hookers. And the mother calls the daughter because she needs help in the kitchen. And then that unfolds. And then the glamour was meeting each other's boyfriend, who turns out to be the same guy. Your soon-to-be husband, Javier Calvo, actually made a very, very, in my opinion, one of the... what's the word I'm looking for? Lack of a better word, a great statement in reference to the performances. And because he brought up the fact that a lot of them fell onto lesbianism for the humor, which I think tends to happen a lot on a lot of seasons of Drag Race.
Yeah.
It's because they don't know what to do. So Carmen kissed Dovima. Killer Queen kissed Arantxa. You know what I mean? I was so happy that he said it. I was so happy. I mean, I don't know if anyone heard it, but I was so happy that he said it when he was judging, because I was like, thank you for calling that out.
Gabe says, because I was just about to say this, I don't recall seeing any of the treadmill at all in the final product, so I don't get the point of it. So I didn't really enjoy this challenge. Love the episode. Didn't enjoy the challenge because all it was that mattered was the improv. Yeah. The photo shoot didn't matter. The other one, the treadmill. Lip sync didn't matter. Yeah. Chucky Chuck said none of the girls knew the lyrics to Kitty Girl. So it was just kind of unnecessary, unless that just helped them build their character, get into character maybe for the improv session. Mm-hmm. But it just felt a little unnecessary. So all I cared about was the improv. But you're right. Yeah. You're so right. It's kind of that easy comedy to fall into of the just make out. Okay, let's just get into it. We're going to make out because that's the only thing we can think of.
Well, you know, I will. Again, I'm not. Well, I was happened to. I don't know how I happened onto fandom and Carmen Farala's page, but um, there's a thing in there. It's from her Meet the Queen that she says that one of the things she hates the most about drag are queens who curse and get vulgar, and it is 1000% something I agree with. And it was something when I started doing drag that I would say to people, because I don't really necessarily see it that much anymore, but dildos were used a lot in drag shows when I was going to drag shows. And I remember telling people, I'm like, you're never going to see me pulling on a dildo. You're never going to see. And I always, I really try not to curse when I'm in drag and on a microphone. So I understood what she's saying. So I feel like that is for a lot of people, they just don't know what else to do. They're not trained in comedy or improv, and they just don't know what else to do.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So again, judges Anna Locking, Javier Ambrosi, and Javier Calvo / Drennan. And then the guest judge, did you know Carlos Aracis?
No.
I guess he's a comics artist. Did you know that? He's an actor, singer, and comics artist. When I Googled him, that's what came up. So again, I'm only going to do tops and bottoms. And there's actually only 4. I don't know if you noticed that for this episode. So you were talking about how there were only 5.
Yeah.
Last one, there were only 4 this episode.
That's what they're lacking in. They're like, oh God, we're putting in so much good stuff, but we have to cut down the judging. So 4 people only.
That's a good point. That's a good
Maybe
point.
That's the only critique.
That's a good point.
You want to see the queens get critiqued, and I'm sure they want to be critiqued too,
Yeah. Well, and I have something else to say about it being a final 4 or a top bottom 4 also later in a moment. But so the category is My Roots. They were paying tribute to the origins of their drag characters. I think some of this, in my opinion, it got confused into Mark's personal origins versus Lorraine's origins. And I felt like that kind of got mishy-mashy with some of them, because I don't know that any of them necessarily did that, the characters' roots. Anyway, all right. So first up, and I'm going to let you talk about her because I don't have anything to say, is Poopy. I'll throw her runway up there for you. Sorry. There you go.
It created an interesting silhouette. I guess it was kind of a difficult runway, because since maybe it got lost in translation, maybe the producers told them something different, and then the category switched actual during filming. So it was like, okay, so is this Poopy's origin, or is this you as a human person outside of drag's origin? So I enjoyed, though, like hearing about what they did have to say about maybe some of the items on their outfits and where they're from. Mm-hmm. So it gave me very Queen of Hearts.
Yes.
Interesting silhouette. And I will say I enjoyed her performance this week.
Okay. I don't have anything to say about her. I'm just not going to talk about her. All right, next up. Wait, hold on. Chucky Chuck, I loved it. So we're kind of pretty much got all the guys accounted for now between all of us. Chucky Chuck is digging Javier Ambrosi when he speaks. I don't know what he's saying, but my God, it's hot.
Chucky Chuck can have Javier Ambrosi.
You see, you have Javier Calvo, and I have Daniel Moro Rojas, also known as Carmen Farala. Week 3 judging is interesting as all 8 got critiques, but then the 4 tops and bottoms get extra critique. Oh, did they all get critiqued?
I forget, honestly. I didn't rewatch the 3rd episode, but maybe they did.
I guess.
I mean, maybe they had to because of they showed all of them, right?
Oh, that's true. Oh, well, yeah, because they showed them all and they kind of talked. So I get what you're saying, Gabe. Okay, sorry. All right. So next up is Inti, who was actually in the bottom this week. Here's her runway. Ollie?
I really liked it. I liked that it was personal. I liked that the judges said that even though it wasn't like their favorite and that was important and in personal to Inti, they still like just wanted it to be a little bit elevated. I think that's what Anna said. Like something just like, I respect, basically what she said was like, I respect you and your origin within the garment, but it wasn't like their favorite. I think that's what they kind of said. So,
well, one of the things that, and I was really glad that Inti said something about this. We'll get more into what happens with Inti in a minute. But Anna says that she thought the boots and the dress underneath the cape were very simple. Throw it up there again for you. I disagree 1,000%. And I thought, I was very glad that Inti kind of stood up for herself. And she said, look, had I had on something real elaborate underneath that, then you all would have said that it was too much. And I thought that was and it's true, because they're going to spin it the way that they want to spin it if you're the one that they want to go home. I thought, if anything for me, I had the biggest issue with was the makeup. I almost wish she didn't do, or just did it like plain silver. I thought all the stuff going on in her face distracted from this. I thought it should have been the hat, the cape, and then again, I liked the underneath. I was okay with the boots. Maybe even, I would have even maybe done a more simple boot. If anything, I thought the boot might have been a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But I was glad she stood up for herself.
I will say that they seemed like they were just like, they loved it though. When they came, I just remember the gasp when she did come up. So they were just like, oh. So I thought it would have been a little bit more of a positive critique for Inti, but I understand that she was in the bottom because I just felt bad for Inti in the fact that like she had honestly one of the hardest improv scenes because she was kind of like, what am I trying to say? She was like kind of like the one turning the gears in that, lack of a better term, because she was the one who she was the epicenter of that scene. She was juggling a man on the phone and her mom, Sagittaria. So Sagittaria had it easy in that improv session, which is weird because she won this week and she was with Inti, who was in the bottom. Anyways, so I felt really bad. This was just like not, I don't know, maybe Inti thought like she knew at this moment that she was being set up to go home, unfortunately. Yeah. So I felt bad because you know how I love Inti.
Yeah. No, I think that's so funny because I actually didn't even realize that she was in the same scene with the person who ends up winning.
And they were like only two who didn't do like the lesbianism. We love the lesbians. Don't get us wrong. We love our girls. Like they had a difficult scene, you know, as opposed to everyone who did like the cheaper comedy.
I think even when I was writing the handwriting, what the challenge, what they had each team, I think I even on my notepad wrote hardest challenge for Inti and of the improvs. You know, I thought theirs was really difficult in my opinion. All right, next on the runway is Dovima, who actually got a good critique on her acting, but then they put her in the bottom, and they even made a comment like, "I know it sounded like we like you, but you're in the bottom." I just thought it was weird. Did you think that was weird?
That was so weird. If anything, I agree with the Disco Queen. Sagittaria didn't do anything. I thought Sagittaria should have been the bottom. Yeah, I liked Dovima. I thought she had not the best performance, and I also loved her look. The night she was the princess, the knight, and the dragon. Yeah. Again, I'm like, oh god, what if she has to lip sync in that? That's going to be hard to move in. But I loved it. I thought it was great. The chainmail, the rose, like, oh yeah. Beautiful.
I liked her look. I think that she's definitely I feel like she is evolving a little bit. I think I'm seeing more of her. I'm getting more of kind of what she does. I think I thought this too, a Disco Queen about Sagittaria. I do like Sagittaria, but I do just see Aquaria. That's what I see every time I see her. I just go, oh, she looks like Aquaria, which is who she modeled Sagittaria after. Right. Yeah, and Chucky Chuck, another one that was confusing, that her look was very interesting. And he's talking about Dovima, I'm assuming.
Oh my god, I almost deep throat my straw, sorry. One more thing. Oh crap, I just forgot it. Do you ever just forget? Anyway,
yes, 24/7.
I will say it was hard to see who was in the bottom. You know, like it.
Yeah.
It was a difficult week, but I love that. I love that, like
Yeah.
kind of keeping us on our toes as viewers. Kind of like, shit, who is going to be in the bottom? Because it's like
Right.
really strange picking at straws at some points. But like
Well,
I knew Inti was, but it was weird that how things unfolded. You know?
Yeah. Well, and we said this when in Down Under. It's like that's what makes sending somebody like Art Simone home early or Drag Volcano home early is that then people go, oh, I guess I don't know where this is going to go. Like, see, like even though you think that people want that person to stay around, you know, like no, not necessarily. I don't think people are going to get upset. They're like, well, if they were the worst and they deserve to go home, who's going to argue with that? You know? You said that during the Meet the Queens video, Sagittarius being like Aquarius. Yeah. And then also too, I know during the when we talked about the images, I was like all excited because she was Sagittarius. She's actually not even a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
She's a Gemini, I think, or a Cancer. So that kind of confused me once I heard that. I was like, well, why would you pick Sagittarius? Like literally she's picking a name to be like Aquaria. Like, all right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of, here's Sagittarius look. Ollie, what did you think of?
Okay, I did like it. I did like it. But then again, there's like, so did this like dessert make Sagittaria or did it make you, you know? But I loved it. I loved the overall look. Was it like really like deserving of the entire win of the week? No, I don't think so, because I don't think her performance was all that funny, to be perfectly honest. I thought Arantxa and Killer Queen should have won that. One of those two should have won, as opposed to her, you know. But I love the look, but I don't think the look was enough to win this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was somebody in the comments actually who said that they thought that she was the best, that they cracked up at her performance. So I know there's somebody watching that thinks that she was probably deserved the win. Yeah, I was really surprised. You know, even the other thing I was going to say is I loved that when Killer and Arantxa even came onto set, they were in it from the moment. Like they were these old women from the moment they walked on to the moment they walked off, and I love that about them. I was actually really surprised. This is again, I think, where there's maybe a little dick in the soup for here. As much as we're loving it, we are loving it, though. Don't get us wrong. We are,
but it can't be perfect. So we have to. It would be boring if we were just like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing ever."
yeah. So as we said, Sagittarius ends up winning. Dovima. I was gonna gave a little bit away. So basically, what ends up happening. So this is what I was gonna say earlier. So there's a final four. Now we cut to them walking off the stage, and then we cut to Poopy, who's talking about how she can't understand why Inti would just automatically assume she's lip syncing. Girl, there were 4 of you. 2 of you in the top, 2 of you in the bottom. What reason does she have to think what they're going to call somebody out of the back to come lip sync against like it just didn't make sense. And again, this is another one of those moments where I was like, we just have to show what Poopy's saying. We need to show Poopy on TV more. We need to show Poopy. And I'm just kind of really like, I'm not falling for it. So that annoyed me. So basically what ends up happening is Inti decides to leave the competition. She just, again, kind of like, this is something else that I like about it is like, I feel like they're not just like, I like that they're fighting back a little bit. Like, I like that Drag Volcano says, well, why don't you make them do what I'm doing? I like that Inti was just like, no, if I would have worn something more colorful, you would have just said I was wearing too much. Like, they seem like they're, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. They're being themselves, and they're not afraid to be themselves. They're not afraid to bite the hand that feeds them, I guess, in a sense. And it's like they're not succumbing to the overall production of what they want.
Yes.
What the show's trying to
what the
paint,
show wants. Yes.
And
yes,
I know
that's what it is.
I think some people will like disagree and be like, oh, she was so disrespectful of like leaving, which, you know, we'll talk about a little bit more. But like, she was just standing up for herself, and she's young. Maybe she wasn't in the right headspace. Maybe mental health, I think, is the most important thing. Not saying she's down on her mental health by any means, but maybe that's the case, you know. But overall, she stood her ground and made a decision that was best for her when she felt that like she was going home, like there was nothing that she could do to save her. So I respect her decision, you know, like it's like what is it, a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of?
Yep.
And she wasn't going to play their game, and I respect that if that was the case.
And I think you were going to say something about this earlier, so I'm going to throw this question at you from Chucky Chuck. He says, do you think Rue would have gone into the workroom and talked a queen into staying like Supreme did?
Absolutely.
You were going to say something about that earlier, weren't you?
Yes, that I love that Supreme did that.
Yeah.
Because that showed that she cared about Inti.
No. Yeah.
That like she cared about the show. That she, like, if she didn't do that, like, you probably would have seen like a producer do that. I don't know. It just was it felt honest to me. Maybe someone disagrees, but it just felt like she really cares about these contestants, regardless of whether there's producing going on, which there is probably. Yeah. It was just nice because I don't think Rue would have done that. You know, sorry, Rue, but it would have been a producer talking to or whoever Rue would be, you know. But it was nice. I really enjoyed that it was handled and she was respectful. She didn't get mad. Supreme did. She was totally respected her decision to Inti of leaving the competition. Yeah.
I agree everything with you said. And I agree with you guys in the chat too. I don't think Rue would have walked back there and tried to make somebody stay.
No, because Rue didn't want to doesn't want them to be seen in the sweatpants.
Right. That too.
Love you, Rue. We love you, Rue. Too. We love Rue's just like,
I know. Where's that meme? So because Inti decided to leave the competition, again, another interesting choice for the show. I don't know that I don't think they would have done this on a regular season either. Supreme says, well, we're still going to do a lip sync. And Dovima, the stage is yours. And she even says before she sings, you're not going home. She says just to sing. The other thing that I liked was as it was ending, all the girls came up and joined her. All the judges stood up and were dancing. Like, it was just, I asked the same question that Chucky Chuck asked. Would they have done that on a regular season?
Yeah, I love that too when they all joined. Because I was thinking like they should join her. Like someone let them up on stage. She's not going nowhere. But it was such a good heartfelt moment after the sad, unfortunate leaving of Inti, quitting of Inti. Because I definitely love her, but I definitely saw her going home if she was to lip sync.
Yeah.
It was just important. It was just all I will say is is that it was weird to see Dovima in the bottom to begin with.
Well, I think like you were saying, and a lot of people in the chat room too, they were so confused by this episode. I think the third one was by far like kind of the most like, huh? Like even the mini challenge, the soccer, the the maxi challenge with the treadmill and everything just kind of being like wishy-washy. It just seemed like a weird episode. I mean, we'll see.
There's always one, at least one.
Yeah, at least one. But I think Chucky Chuck making a good point. It feels like Family and Supreme was trying to understand what Inti was going through. I think that's kind of what you were saying as well.
Because there could have been more to the story too. And when you're in that pressure cooker, and if there's something going on in here that isn't all like 100%, like your mental health is more important if that's the case. Yeah. Or if you just don't want to be fucked with, more power to you.
Yeah. All right. So a couple mirror moments, and I have some fans of the week and quote of the week too. And then we are done, guys. So we're almost done. So mirror moments for episode 3. There was also a mirror moment with Killer Queen, who I just fell in love with even more. Her being bullied in school for being morbidly obese, told a story about how when they were changing in the locker room, they took a photo of her, and it's different now. When I was in school, you would have to literally have a camera in the locker room, which probably wouldn't have been permitted. Now everybody has their cell phones and they can take pictures so easily of people. That took a picture of her changing in the locker room, and she said she would pretend to be sick, so she didn't have to go to school. I think the most important part of what was said was her talking about why, and I think this is a lot with me too, is like, Ru says it all the time, the same power you have in drag, you can have out of drag. But I think it's hard for us sometimes, and Killer saying how Killer Queen, her character, empowers her and helps her kind of get through those moments. I would say the same thing for me. And then her saying, hoping that other young kids who are watching this, who are going through this, can see that it gets better, can see that they can take control, can see that they can empower themselves and feel great about themselves, I think is an important message. For me, I just think back like what it would have been like for me at a young age to see some of these things that I'm seeing now. Oh, and I was gay. I mean, there was no getting like people me coming out was not a shock to anybody. I didn't act very different than I do.
The door was always open.
Well, people would say that to me. They go, Mark, what were you like when you weren't out? Because I didn't come out till I was 23. And I say, ask my friends, they'll tell you. And they said it was exactly the same. He just said that he liked girls. So I didn't act that different, but I just didn't say, or I just didn't talk about it. I just didn't talk about girls, or I just like, if someone's like, what do you think of her and stuff? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let's talk about this, I think that's where a lot of my humor comes from too, is that being able to deflect a lot of those kind of conversations. But, and then, so then I mentioned this in episode 2, the Anti-Ugly Brigade, that Carmen, Dovima, and Sagittaria had created, to kill the ugly queens because they were the pretty queens. But I also thought, again, another moment where you could tell Carmen was listening to what was being said in the workroom. And instead of, like, I feel like a lot of times, Chucky Chuck, I think, says this, a lot of times they dig at people to get a rise out of them or just for good TV. She really heard what Killer Queen said. And she said, I'm no longer part of the Anti-Ugly Brigade, that we're all beautiful in our own way. That we're, even though that I on the surface may seem pretty, there's ugly things about me and stuff like that. I thought that it was important for, again, another important thing to happen for people to see that are young that watch these shows.
Right. And don't let, Killer Queen also said, don't let some couple morons fucking send you in the wrong direction. And I also just, again, with Carmen, I loved her story about the Lynx. And her dad in the national park. I know she wasn't on the stage, but like that stuck with me too, and how important it was. Because at first I was like, catsuit, what? Yeah. But then having that origin also is like, wow, that was really beautiful of her dad passing away.
Yeah, I don't know if we said this earlier, but she even admits, like in the first episode or second episode, I'm a crier, and every episode Carmen has cried. She's the crier of the episode. But it is, what'd she say, 18 months ago she lost her dad? So it's very fresh. So I'm very familiar with that. So I can understand why she would get emotional. All right. My quote of the week goes to, I never thought I'd be saying this, Dovima. She said, if you wanted a private show, all you had to do was ask.
That was good.
Yeah, when she had to lip sync by herself. All right, so I do actually have a couple fans of the week I saved till the end. I'm gonna butcher your name, and I apologize in advance. All you fans of the week probably hate me because I butchered these names, but Alafa Lapua on our YouTube channel said, I don't mean to sound biased. This is in reference to Drag Race Down Under video. He says, I don't mean to sound biased, but if it weren't for the New Zealand queens, this show would be trash. And I like the word trash, so I had to give him a shout out for fan of the week. And also Jazz Singer 83 also wrote another comment. So you are also fan of the week. So next week on España, so I'm hoping next week, we were saying episode 3 was a little downer. I'm thinking next week might be a good one because not only is the library open tonight. It'll be on tonight, right? Midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight
Or
our time.
Is it they both come out at the same time, Down Under and España?
Oh, no. España's Sunday. Sorry. Midnight tonight is Down Under. I know. I got excited.
Hopes crushed.
So midnight tonight is Down Under. And then like in the afternoon, Sunday is España for us. But they're also going to be doing Snatch Game on España.
I'm excited.
So it'll be interesting. I'm sure I won't know who half of these people are, but whatever. So knowing that next week is Snatch Game and Reading Challenge, who do you predict will be going home, Ollie Drennan?
Oh, God. Who's going home? Ugh. Okay.
You guys write in the comments, too. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
I don't know why my first thought went to immediately Dovima. Because, and I thought she was going to go further, but she's been in the bottom a couple times. She has some sharp wit. Like some of her confessionals are pretty like witty and funny, and it makes me really fall in love with her. But I don't know. I think she might not do well in Snatch Game because it is very like quick improv, like quick. When you have like Arancha or Poopy might do well. The girls who have more personality.
Well, I'm going to say right now, Poopy's going to be in the top, regardless of what she does.
I can see it.
I mean, she could not get a laugh out of anybody, and she'll be in the top.
Arancha win next week.
I know.
I'm like, just please.
I wonder if she's going to do Hannah Montana.
Please, everyone knows. Everyone. That will be the one character that we both know. But
I know, right?
Oh God, I'm pulling for her.
Chucky Chuck says maybe Sagittaria. I don't know. Sagittarius seemed to do well in the improv. I mean, whether you liked her or not, I actually, Sagittaria and Hugaseo in the improv challenge actually both surprised me because I didn't expect them to do as well as they both did. So I think sometimes it's more at your advantage to not be a comedy queen and do well at a comedy challenge than to go into a comedy challenge and be a comedy queen because then you get judged even harsher if you don't get any laughs. So I don't know. I think just because Dovima has been in the bottom a couple times, I'm thinking her, and only because Arancha's been in the bottom before, I'm going to say maybe Arancha.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's hard because I'm thinking like, damn, who is going home?
Yeah. I mean, but it could also be too a situation where God forbid Carmen not be on the show anymore, but like someone like Carmen being in the bottom and like everyone like maybe it's some shocker. There could be a shocker. Mm-hmm. Ugaseo, I mean, it depends. It depends what character. I mean, it looks like Ugaseo and Killer Queen bring the same character. No, Dovima and Killer Queen bring the same character.
Yeah.
And Dovima says she didn't bring a backup.
Yes.
So that could also impede Killer Queen. Because if she doesn't know her second character as well, and it's not as good, and she caves.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh no. That's very true. Because real quick, last thing I'll say is like Killer Queen should have won this episode.
Yeah, I agree.
She should have won this episode. Sorry, Arancha, I love you, but thinking about it and her story of overcoming that, like this was Killer Queen's episode. So because she didn't win, because her origin story's already been told, maybe Killer Queen is going home next week.
Could be.
Because of the drama with Dovima. So, and I love Killer Queen. So,
I know. I think because they don't seem to like her. Even when she's safe, they don't like. It's just I don't know. They just don't seem to have the same kind of like with shitty. Sorry, that's the English translation of her name. So that's what I'm going to call her. Can you also see this as problematic for Killer Queen as she did poorly in acting? Yeah. I mean, although I didn't think she did bad in improv. So I think her improv scene was good. So I don't know. So, All right, you guys, we did it. We got through the first 3 of España. Me and Ali are going to keep doing España. Probably do a couple, maybe do 2 episodes next time, because I'll get myself together. And all right, thank you for joining me, Ali. I'm glad we got to do this.
Are you kidding me? This is finally we get to do something.
I know
we like.
Right, exactly. All right, Ali, when you're not on Drag Race TV LA, how can somebody find you on the social media if they want to stalk you and your pink hair?
If you want to stalk me like Mark does to Carmen, follow me on Ollie Dreamer or on all social media platforms.
And he does thirst traps like Daniel does. So
yes,
it's a win-win.
Oh, he does? Daniel does? Oh,
well, he's a model. So he has a lot of model. I'll send you his boy Instagram.
Okay. I have to do some stuff.
You're not allowed to look at it like I look at it. You just have to like scroll quickly. You can't zoom in.
Okay.
And look at what's in the background of his house and read comments. You can't do all that.
Okay.
That's for me to do. You guys can find me on all social media at Lorayne Love, LORAYNE LOVE, or the Mark J Freeman on all social media. And be sure to follow us, DRTVLA, on all social media. Maybe send a little thing out to your friends. Say, hey, you guys need to follow these cool people that do this recap and get us some more followers. That would be kind of cool, kind of badass. And we'd appreciate it. So this week, Monday, we'll be back to do the finale of Down Under. Woo! And then the following Sunday, the 27th, Ollie and myself and Jayla will be back to recap episode 1 of All Star 6. Yes. So we'll be back on. Yes, we'll be back on Sundays with the gang. Everybody, we kind of coming and going because we're all busy, but we'll all be here on Sundays. Maybe 3. It could be earlier. There's a discussion amongst our group to move it just a little bit earlier on Sundays. So just keep an eye out on our DRTV LA social media. That's how you will find out what is going on with us. Okay, guys? Thank you to everybody who joined us in the live. We love you guys. A Disco Queen, Hello Kitty, Roro, Gabe, of course, Chucky Chuck. Lewis was in there. Oh my gosh, there's so many people in there today. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We love you, and we'll see you very soon. Love you guys. Bye.